Howdy, and welcome to Book Here, Give Here. We're travel that gives. I'm Lulu Lima, your chief travel guru. I hope this episode of Dream Now, Travel Later inspires you to travel, and I invite you to give us the opportunity to help plan your next memorable trip. So grab your popcorn and enjoy.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back. I have been on amazing journeys, as you all know, so we haven't had a chance to talk about travel in a little bit. So today, I thought I'd give you a little dinner update. And what we're going to talk about is train travel. So the wonderfulness, woohoo! And today, I've got Jim Marini from Amtrak Vacations and Rail Bookers. And so he is the guru on everything train travel. He has educated me on things that I didn't even remember. So it's great that I get to plan your trips with him and his team because they are amazing, I gotta tell you. So with that, I'm not gonna take up any more time. I will let Jim do the rest of the introductions and going through the beautifulness of traveling via train.
Awesome. Lulu, I couldn't have asked for a better introduction. Folks, thank you so much for joining Lulu and I here this evening, and so excited to be here to talk about train travel. Do we have any folks joining us, Lulu, that maybe do not like to fly, maybe you don't like to drive, or you're looking for something different? Well, we got you covered with Yankee Leisure Group. And if you look at the picture,
got everybody,
right?
Honey.
Oh, we got everybody. That's right. That's right. 3 different brands that we operate. Now, as Lulu mentioned, yes, we are the official tour operator. As you can see all the way to the left-hand side, looking at our Amtrak Vacations brochure, we are the official tour operator here in the United States. And as Lulu mentioned, you can book any of these exciting trips through her and Book Here, Give Here. They got you in great hands. This is, again, all USA continental domestic style vacations. Again, if you don't like to fly, maybe you don't like to drive, you're looking for something different, we have packages all put together from 3 days, 5 days, 1 and 2 weeks long, but any trips can be customized, and you'll hear more about that. Lulu, certainly, as I mentioned to all of your great fans and all of your travelers and listeners and viewers joining us, that also includes Yankee Holidays, which is really easy to know the difference. I often get asked this question a lot. Well, what's the difference between Amtrak Vacations and Yankee Holidays? Amtrak Vacations is by rail, Yankee Holidays is by road. So train trips, driving trips, both within the US as well as Canada. And that leads me to our last brand, which is Rail Bookers, which is all of our Canadian, European, and worldwide rail vacations, including actually one USA destination, which you'll have to stick around to see more about a little later in today's presentation. But as I go through today's presentation, I did want to mention something that I think is exciting. And Lulu, I hope you are just as excited as I am for all of your great travelers. And that is any trip that any of you would like to book right through Lulu, anywhere that we operate. If you book before the end of this year, you can travel anytime in 2021 or anytime in 2022. You automatically will qualify for our maximum flexibility offer, which basically means if you needed to change your travel date, postpone your trip, whatever the reason is, we are waiving any and all change and cancellation fees. So really giving all of you that peace of mind. I know. Thank you so much, Lulu.
No, that's super awesome. So let's get right down to it. We've got an amazing map right in front of us. And Amtrak's system is so immersed, especially not only on the East Coast, but I mean, as you go through the country, right? So even on the West Coast and everything else and going, you know, you even have opportunities to go somewhat north and south out of Chicago.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
What a great opportunity to really kind of feel and get a good taste of immersion of our own country.
No doubt.
The amount of train travel that you can do, and you don't even have to worry about driving. You don't have to worry about taking a plane if you're not comfortable flying. Y'all know I've been flying. That doesn't mean that you have to.
Right. Well, and I will say too, for all those great folks joining us in the East Coast or anywhere in the US where there's lots of traffic, how about avoiding the traffic, everyone, right? Take the track less traveled on, no pun intended, but you can do that with the Amtrak Vacations. And what's cool is too, Do you know there's over 500 Amtrak stations throughout the United States that you can start, stop, or end your rail vacation at? And it's interesting, Lulu, one of the things that I always love sharing during all of my presentations, last year alone, just last year, over 31 million people traveled on board Amtrak. Over 31 million people, yeah. So believe it or not, if Amtrak was an airline, it would actually be the 5th largest airline in all of the United States. So lots of great options for all your clients. Now,
how awesome is that? So let's move a little bit about talking about the safe environment, right? Because everybody's got COVID on their mind. And so let's talk about how we can social distance and how things are happening.
Absolutely. Well, of course, this is the important question, understandably. Certainly as the world has changed from what we all know only earlier this year, to me, there's some silver lining moments that have come out of this. And we're going to talk about this a little later, but just to give everyone an important update on how Amtrak's maintaining a safe environment, facial coverings are required on board the train. Certainly for any of you traveling in the near future, just like you would on an airline. However, Lulu, something that a lot of your viewers might also be happy to hear about is you actually have the ability to take off your mask if you choose when you upgrade to a private sleeper, which we highly recommend. And certainly if you're traveling overnight on board a train, it's part of the whole experience. So that is optional, and I think that's pretty cool. So that's one that we're pretty much cleaning and sanitizing the handles, the doorknobs, the inside, the outsides of the trains. They have a pretty much state-of-the-art air filtration system. Every 4 to 5 minutes, we're bringing air from the outside, taking the air from the inside, and pushing it outside. So it's a constant flow of fresh air at all times. We've also now gone cashless. Yes, folks, you can use your credit cards on board the trains, at the train stations. They have social distancing posters, floor stickers, and something that I actually think is a nice benefit, certainly now, is trains are operating at 50% capacity on purpose to allow more room in between passengers. So lots of good things going on for any of you that maybe are just wanting to get out, want to see family, friends, maybe have a little cabin fever, One thing's for sure too, Lulu, so many folks are traveling or certainly will be traveling domestically initially before traveling internationally eventually, and that's where we can certainly help.
Absolutely. And it's also an opportunity for you guys to get your feet wet and see how do you feel traveling. So it's totally awesome with that. We can all do baby steps.
Absolutely.
So we're going to start talking a little bit about all of the different opportunities, and we really wanted to touch national parks because that is something that you as Americans really enjoy. And it's something that you want to go out. There's a lot of wellness behind it. There's adventure. There's just a different body or mind reset when you go and you're in this and you're in nature, right? Because a lot of us live in these crowded cities.
Right. Well, and to add to your point too, Lulu, there's 2 words I think I have heard now more than ever, and I know you and I both have been in the travel industry a long time.
Yeah.
The words are called open spaces. And folks, you're going to have plenty of open spaces at all these beautiful national parks. And one of our most popular, as you can see here, is Glacier National Park. Now, something a lot of your viewers may already be familiar with or may not know, Glacier National Park, folks, is only open 4 months of the year: June, July, August, and September. So if this is on your wish list in the beautiful state of Montana, where there's over 1 million acres, all right, let Lulu know. She can help make reservations for you, not only for 2021, but there might be some of you who may even want to plan into 2022. You see, that's the beauty with any of the trips that I'm highlighting here today. You can book up to 2 years in advance. Now, this is one of our most popular national parks. Again, absolutely fantastic, but one of our biggest and certainly most popular national park all year round is one of the parks that I'm going to be getting to in just a little bit. But before
you do that,
please, yes.
I want to throw in, for those of you guys who are looking for your planning way ahead, keep in mind that we have payment plan options. So that means that you get to pay as you go. And so you can plan it far enough in advance. And by the time everything is said and done, you're all paid off. So we can budget, we can do travel financial planning for you.
which is great. That's honestly, that's such a great option to offer that. Actually, I will mention too, one other point with Glacier National Park, everyone, all of our trips are all independent style vacations, flexible, independent travel. And here's a great example of that as you look at Glacier National Park. On one of the days on all of our tours, you actually have a full day guided tour with stops made along the way, sightseeing, video, pictures, lunches at leisure. But then on another day, you can have a car rental, which Lulu can help you arrange with Amtrak Vacations. You can go sightseeing, you can go hiking, fishing. And that's the beauty, unlike a lot of other tour operators where it's more regimented, structured every day, 6 to 8 in the morning, it's breakfast. From 8 to 12, it's sightseeing. From 12 to 2, it's lunch. From 2 to 5, it's more sightseeing. From 5 to 7, it's dinner. From 7 p.m. on, there's an evening activity. And that's most days on an escorted guided bus tour. With us, on certain days, you may have a full day guided tour or a half a day guided tour. But guess what? On another day, free day at leisure. You can have your own car rental. You can walk to and from a lot of the attractions, which, it's interesting, Lulu, you mentioned this a minute ago. And, what makes us special and unique is not only some of the unique cuisine, but also some of those unique lodges that you could stay at. So, for instance, in Glacier National Park, the lodge we use that you would stay at, folks, if this is on your wish list, is Glacier Park Lodge. In fact, it's located only about 207 steps away from the Amtrak station. That's how close it is. You can actually walk to the lodge, or they have shuttles that can bring you. But, when we talk about some of the unique type of cuisine, experience in the different destination, well, in certainly Glacier National Park, they're known for not only some of the local iconic cuisine, bison, elk, if you're like me, I love it. And Lulu, I'm guessing you might be similar. I love experiencing some of the local cuisine wherever I travel because it's authentic, right? It's authentic to that area. So as some of your viewers may notice listening to me, well, I'm from Boston. I live here in New England, right? So if you're going to come here, what am I going to suggest, right? New England, clam chowder, lobster, right? You name it, seafood, right?
Exactly.
Well, certainly a Glacier, elk, bison, some unique wildlife, but also they got a great dessert called huckleberry pie, which is a form of blueberry, but it's iconic in the states of Montana and Idaho. So just a great park to visit.
It truly is. It's some amazing stuff.
Good.
So from, we're going to go from the glaciers and we're going to do a little bit of a 6-day adventure. Mm-hmm. And we're thinking here we can do the Grand Canyon from Chicago as an example.
Absolutely. And folks, if you're looking at this map, just so you know, because this will serve as a great example for some of the other trips that Lulu and I are highlighting here this evening, all the red lines represent the train routes. The number 1 in a red triangle just represents that's an overnight on board the train, which is also a great opportunity to consider upgrading to a sleeper. Yes. The number 1, the number 2 in a round black circle just represents how many nights that you're in each location. So let me walk you through this itinerary because I think this will serve as a good example. And Grand Canyon, unlike Glacier National Park, is open all year round, right?
Yes, awesome.
Funny enough, folks, before we began tonight, Lulu and I were talking and I said, she's so smart. She escaped the snowy winter. So if you want to escape the snowy winters as well, guess what? Grand Canyon is open in the months of January, February, March, or November and December. It's open all year round.
And the weather's actually not as bad as it is in the Northeast.
Nope, that's right. That's exactly it. And actually, I will say, speaking of the Grand Canyon too, just a little fun trivia for all your viewers and travelers, over 7 million people visited the Grand Canyon last year. And speaking of the number 7, it is considered to be one of the 7 wonders of the world.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's absolutely awesome. So, and I know that this is on a lot of people's bucket lists, even just for the domestic travel side of things. So if you wanted to, do some even holidays, certainly great opportunity, or in between the holidays, and you've got lots of social distancing that you've got going on in Grand Canyon because it's got lots of space.
Oh yeah.
And if you wanted to add, anything else outside of the Grand Canyon, maybe you wanted to go into Sedona or Scottsdale and even do some wineries while we're down there, we can totally add that onto your trip.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, and honestly, I really appreciate Lulu giving us an opportunity to present to each and every one of you, because as beautiful as there are of destinations all over the world, folks, as you all know, there's so many great sites right here in our own backyard. And
Yes.
that's the beauty of traveling by train. And speaking of train, if you look on the slide right here on the screen, yes, you travel on the Southwest Chief, which is one of our iconic double-decker superliner trains. And if you're wondering, well, what's a superliner trains? It basically means they are the largest in our fleet. There's 2 levels, and it's all the trains from Chicago heading west out to the beautiful national parks, out to California, or from the West Coast east to Chicago. So this is a lot of fun. All right.
And you know, one of the things that I also like too is that because it's a double-decker train, if you want to go, if you're on top, you're going to have these amazing views that you won't have if you're driving, right? Because now
That's
you're
right.
elevated, you're
Yep.
you're seeing the countryside, and you don't have to worry about who's in front of you.
Right.
My brakes, so wait.
No traffic. Remember? No traffic.
Exactly, no traffic.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
awesome stuff. So, and here's some just other points here of things that views that you're going to see, lodging that we can talk about a little bit. But again, everything is going to be totally unique.
Absolutely. And you know, and if I can mention something on lodging too, Lulu, for all your travelers and viewers joining us, Lulu can get space inside those hard to get space lodges. Some of them that you're looking at right here: El Tavar, Yavapai, Maswick Lodge, Kachina Lodge. I could go on and on. Many of these lodges, folks, as many of you may know, if you've been to the Grand Canyon or if it's on your wish list, many of them will book up 1 to 2 years in advance. And the reason why, there's only so many lodges you could choose from along the south rim of the Grand Canyon. We can get space inside those hard to get spaces lodges when you travel through. Book here as well. Give here.
Book your give here. That's our company name.
Mm-hmm.
All good. So with that, so here's an inside view of the Grand Canyon Railway.
Yes.
And I think this is great to talk about.
Absolutely. You know, now I'm going to give you a suggestion in the top left-hand corner, folks. Okay. That is inside of the dome car. So you want to ask Lulu to tell you more about the dome car for a little bit more. You'll have the big glass dome windows. It's only about a 2-hour train ride, just so you know, everyone. And this is not part of the Amtrak system. However, it's that local, authentic, Wild West style train from Williams, Arizona into the south rim of the Grand Canyon. But if you upgrade to the dome car, which is in the top left-hand corner, 2 extra large seats on one side, 2 extra large seats on the other. Refreshments, snacks are served. They have live entertainment. Don't be surprised if you see a little Wild West show on your way traveling to the south rim of the Grand Canyon. So lots of fun.
That's super awesome. So, and here's a little map that we can kind of guide you in terms of all the different places and the points of what you'll see while you're in the historic village.
Absolutely. And you know what's nice, Lulu, is really the south rim of the Grand Canyon, very easy area to get in and around. They actually have shuttle buses that can take you throughout. There's restaurants and shops. Yep. It's also very walkable as well. So again, location, which is definitely where you'll be.
Hey, Jim, let's talk about if you want to bring your pet on board.
Yeah, absolutely. So pets are allowed, but typically service animals. So if anyone does have an animal that's a service animal, you just let Lulu know and she'll make those arrangements with us. And certainly we have folks that bring pets on board all over the U.S. Whenever needed. So no worries.
Cool beans.
Yes.
So with that, so we talked about, what the itinerary looks like. So we're looking at round trip coach accommodations. And we can upgrade those to sleepers.
Yes, absolutely.
Which I highly recommend, because that way
Me too.
you have your own privacy.
Yep.
And the sleepers have their own bathrooms.
So it depends on which category of sleepers that any of your travelers do upgrade to. So in fact, we're going to show you some more pictures in a little bit. But if you want your own private toilet, shower, and vanity inside your room, you upgrade to a bedroom, or you can go a little less expensive option in a roomette, which has what we call private yet shared toilets and showers. So we'll show you a little bit about that in just a little bit.
Awesome. And then on your trip, you get not only the Grand Canyon Freedom Tour, but then you get some meals as well, and hotel accommodations.
You do. And that's the beauty, folks, because all our trips are all independent style vacations. Any trip can be customized. So if you want to add days, if you want to make additional stops along the way, whatever you want, that's the beauty. Lulu can help personalize and design that perfect trip for each and every one of you.
Absolutely. So now we're moving on, and we're going to do another type of national park. We're going to go to the Grand Tetons and Yellowstone.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Great package, folks. And here's the beauty. With this package, as you can see, not every trip has to be round trip from the same city. Here's an example where it starts in the city of Chicago, but ends in Salt Lake City. And I will mention for all the viewers joining us, if you're located in New York or Pennsylvania or Texas or any of the other great states in the U.S., right? And you're wondering, well, how do I get to Chicago and get back home from Salt Lake City? Well, folks, again, if you don't like to fly, Lulu can make arrangements for you right from your local Amtrak station to bring you to and from this trip. Or Lulu can book flights for you into Chicago and back home from Salt Lake City, basically to make it one nice, easy package. But if we go through this package, Lulu, I will say what's nice with this trip is not only is it Yellowstone National Park, which, by the way, happens to be larger than the states of Rhode Island and Delaware combined. Imagine that, everyone.
Space. Hello, social distancing.
That's right. There you go.
Folks.
That's right. Lots of social distancing. But Yellowstone National Park is also the world's first national park, believe it or not, as well. So lots of history here. And this is a little more of a seasonal national park, similar to Glacier National Park, but a little bit longer season. The train you travel on to is really my personal favorite. And I've been on most of all the overnight long distance trains. The California Zephyr. If you want to talk about a train that literally slices in and outside the mountains, that is the California Zephyr, especially when you travel through the great states of Colorado and Utah.
I mean, the mountainous views that you're going to have, they are going to be so refreshing, and they're just going to be so amazing. It's going to be like, wow, look at all this nature. It's just awesome. So we look at these on Facebook and go, I want that train trip. I want this. I want that. Well, here it is, everybody.
Here it is. Yep. That's right. Here it is.
So,
did I mention wildlife too? Yes, I didn't.
We have our own safari.
Yes, that's right.
Country. People forget how much safari we have.
Absolutely. And that's the beauty. And I will mention too, so not only do you have some great wildlife at all these national parks, not only Yellowstone, but Yellowstone, if we have anyone who literally wants to get out for the holidays or before the end of this year, and maybe you want to go in the winter time, you can even go to Yellowstone in the winter. You can even go later this year or even the beginning of next year if you choose. So it pretty much operates most of the year, not all the time, but typically May through September, October, and then again in November, December as well.
And it's so awesome. So let's kind of recap a little bit of what you get. Not only do you get your rail tickets, but you get your sightseeing of the different parks, as well as you get your a car rental and your accommodations.
Right. That's the beauty. Again, you can kind of travel where and when and how you want because you also have your car rental. And folks, for those of you who may not be as familiar with Yellowstone National Park, unlike Glacier National Park or unlike the Grand Canyon where the trains do bring you right up into the park, Yellowstone, it's about a 4 to 5 hour sightseeing drive from Salt Lake City. The train does not physically go there. That's why we include the car rental for everyone.
So that's super awesome. So another opportunity, it's a little longer, but certainly you have so much more. So we're not only adding Yellowstone, but now you get to see Yosemite and the Grand Canyon. So if you really wanted to do 3 parks, here you go.
all in one trip. So,
Exactly.
here's what I always say on this particular picture, Lulu, is, this is a package. Maybe some of you joining Lulu and I here tonight, maybe you were traveling somewhere internationally, somewhere exotic around the world. Maybe you were even booked originally on a cruise, but now you want to stay closer to home. Now you want to see more of your own backyard, and maybe some of these parks are all on your wish list, your bucket list. You can do it all in one trip, and you don't have to worry about driving and having anything to worry about. We take care of everything with you and for you with Lulu.
That's so awesome. I'm so excited.
Yes.
And I love, again, you're getting dinner in a beautiful restaurant. You're getting all your accommodations, amazing sightseeing. It's just awesome.
Yes, absolutely. Well, this is kind of a fun part because now we talk about the train, Lulu. Now it's about what is life like on board the train. And before I get into seating and sleeping accommodations, folks, did you know you're allowed 2 pieces of luggage up to 50 pounds each, 50 pounds each per person, and 2 carry-on bags per person for free? All right. So last time I checked, and Lulu, you would know this. Last time I checked, most airlines, there is a charge even for your first piece of luggage, unless you're part of a certain elite status. And that's the beauty with the Amtrak Vacations. 2 pieces of luggage up to 50 pounds each per bag, and 2 carry-ons per person for free, which is great.
That's so awesome.
Yes.
I mean, obviously, it just makes your costs less because you don't have to worry about, your carry-ons, your check bags.
That's it.
And look at these coach accommodations. Look how much space you have.
Well, and folks, for any of you who may have joined us a little bit later, or if you listen and watch this at a later time, here's the nice part about right here, right now with Amtrak. Again, it's only operating at 50% capacity on board the train on purpose. And I'm going to tell you why this is important. There are no middle seats on board the trains. So unlike an airline where you could get stuck in the middle seat, on board Amtrak, and you have, and so have I. And actually, Lulu, I did, believe it or not, to Australia. Imagine that. So again, you don't have to worry about that, folks. 2 extra large seats on one side, 2 on the other. And as you can see by the picture too, lots of leg room. There's an outlet you can charge your iPhone, mobile device, iPad, laptop. Plenty of space above the overhead for your carry-on bag. So very, very comfortable. But of course, when you do travel on board the train, the real highlight is upgrading to private sleepers. And one of the things that I'll mention to all of your viewers joining us here is when you do upgrade, there's lots of great things that come with upgrading to sleepers. So I'll kind of walk you through and take you through some of these pictures as we go through. So obviously, with the world having changed a little bit from what we knew only earlier this year, some of those silver lining moments that have come out of it. Well, did you know now when you board the train and you've upgraded to a sleeper, you can board the train separately. That's never been offered before. And
that is so awesome.
Yeah, it is. It's big. So, again, and it doesn't matter what category of sleepers you upgrade to. So if you don't want to be in a big crowd or a long line, when you upgrade to a sleeper, which is even more reason to consider upgrading, you can board the train separately.
Absolutely. Yep. And again, we talked about earlier, you have some extras that come with it. So you've got your toiletries, you've got your bottled water, your coffee, and all of that. So you also have, just a little extra to just make your trip that much more amazing.
Absolutely. And there's more too, Lulu. So now I will say what you're looking at here, folks, this is our most popular and our most affordable sleeping category. And this is a roomette. And as I mentioned, again, if anybody may be joining us a little later or missed at the beginning, when you upgrade to a sleeper, you also have the option, if you choose, to take off your mask, to take off your facial covering from the privacy of your own room. And as we know, any of us, myself and Lulu, or any of the viewers joining us, when we fly, that mask has to be on at all times unless we're having some drink or a bite to eat, and then it's back on. And that's the nice thing. You can sit back, relax, right from the comfort of your own room, take off that mask and enjoy yourself. That's allowed on board with Amtrak.
And that's super important, right? Because that way, it also gives you a little bit of breathing room, and it gives you a sense of, like, if you're in your own vehicle as well.
Right.
So
that's right.
So
that's
it's super
exactly
great.
it.
So
Yep.
here's a look at what the roomette looks like when two people are in it. You've got one on top and one on the bottom.
Nice and convenient. And that's part of the experience, right, folks?
Yeah.
Again, if train travel is on your wish list, your bucket list, I often hear too, Lulu, of so many different shows that I've attended over the years. So many folks that say, son, my grandmother, my grandfather, my great grandfather used to work for the train. They traveled by train. I traveled when I was a child. Folks, it's coming back. As I mentioned, over 31 million people traveled last year. That would make us the 5th biggest airline in the US. And now more than ever, with obviously so many folks not being able to travel as extensively as you once did, well, son, why not see more of your own backyard and experience trains? We can do that for you. Yep.
Exactly. So, and so now we talk about having a bedroom option. So a bedroom option actually gives you your own private vanity, your own bathroom.
Right.
It's so super awesome.
It is, yeah, and it's a little bit bigger in size too. So if you're, if you're a family, 2 adults and a small child, because actually, too, Lulu, a small child can fit on the lower bunk bed, because the lower bunk bed is 1.5 times as wide as the top bunk bed, which is neat. So, and we do allow on some of our trains too, Lulu, for any of your viewers and travelers joining us, we do allow on some trains to have adjoining bedrooms. So if you're traveling with an extended family, or maybe you're a family of 5
bedrooms, how awesome.
Right. Open up the door in the middle and everyone can go back and forth and have some fun.
That is super awesome. How many connectors do you guys have?
How many you talking about how many sleep-in trains do we have?
Yeah, well, so in terms of the bedrooms, per train.
Yes. So
you have are they all connecting, or can you or do you have just a limited amount of inventory for that?
It is a limited amount of inventory. So yes, if you do,
we have to book them early, guys.
That's right. Absolutely. I will tell you, yeah, they are very limited, but they are available on some of our trains as well.
That's awesome. So we'll find you the trains if you need them when you're coming with your family, so that way you can have your own bedrooms and complete privacy.
Absolutely.
That's super awesome. So here's just a quick look of, what that experience looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course, if you have any accessibility issues or mobility issues, there is a car for you.
Absolutely.
So I want to make sure I take care of all my folks.
Well, I know we were talking about this a little earlier too, Lulu, but there are some silver lining moments with everything that's changed a little bit as we know it only earlier this year. And one of those moments is not only being able to board the train separately when you upgrade to a sleeper, but do you know now, folks, you can order hot, fresh items for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and meals now can be delivered right to your own private sleeper. That's never been offered in the past, with the exception of folks that were in handicap accessible rooms, which of course it's still being offered. But now if you're in a roomette, a bedroom, a family bedroom, or a handicap accessible room, you can have meals delivered right to your own private sleeper. Which is great.
Yet another reason to upgrade. I love it.
Absolutely.
I don't
the meals are all included
now without being in a private sleeper.
No, that's right. And not only do they get their meals delivered if they choose, but they're automatically included when they do upgrade. So, this is a good point in today's presentation too, Lulu, where, I really appreciate you allowing me to present some of these fantastic trips to all of your viewers and your travelers, because now what we do is we move in from Amtrak Vacations, which is all of our USA, domestic continental USA rail vacations on board Amtrak, to now Rail Bookers, which is all of our Canadian, European, worldwide rail vacations. However, today it's all about North America, and that includes Alaska by land, as well as the Canadian Rockies. So this will bring us to the remainder of today's presentation. And if we go through this particular portion, Alaska Railroad, all right? Did any of you have any trips planned, or were you thinking of traveling by any chance to Alaska on board?
I had many people on cruises that couldn't go.
That's right.
So for you guys who were looking to do Alaska on a cruise and you can't go, especially since the cruises may or may not come back next year in the first half, we're not sure yet.
Right.
This is a great opportunity to still do your trip.
Absolutely. And, and I have to say, Lulu, was seeing lots of great bookings from all our great travel partners like yourself, where so many of your travelers, they want to go somewhere, but maybe they're not ready to go on a cruise. Well, guess what? You could do it by rail. So if we look at this particular map on the right-hand side, folks, we run 2 major train routes. Now, Alaska Railroad is the iconic train in Alaska. Now, it's not part of the Amtrak system within the continental U.S. It's its own unique style train, almost like the Grand Canyon Railway is in the Grand Canyon. This train operates all during the day, so it does not travel overnight, but there's 2 major iconic routes. One is from Anchorage, which is in the lower portion of the map, Anchorage down to Seward, and the other major train route is from Anchorage north up into Denali and then north up into Fairbanks. And that's the nice thing. Lulu can book everything for you, including your flights, folks, into either Fairbanks or Anchorage. So you get to decide.
Exactly. And so, and we can make everything happen nice and easy for you.
Yes.
So whatever you need, and we can cover all of Alaska. So we can make these amazing itineraries for you based on what you want to see.
That's right. That's right. And on any of our packages, pricing is always based in adventure class, which is the main seating on board the train, just like it is on board any of the Amtrak vacation packages in coach seating. But I'm going to suggest something right here, right now. And you'll see this as we go to the next picture right here.
Gold
and
Star
that is,
service.
to consider upgrading. Folks, I will say, and many of you may feel similar, one thing that we're seeing as a trend now more than ever, especially for next year and even into 2022, because so many folks have not had a chance to travel this year, no fault of any of us. So many people are going bigger for next year. And when I say going bigger, consider upgrading to the Gold Star service. And that's what you see right here. If you look in the bottom left-hand corner, just like the dome car on the Grand Canyon Railway, this has the big glass dome windows. Okay. Meals are automatically included on board the train. You have your own private tour guide as you travel from one great location to another. And you also have your own private outdoor viewing platform where 2 complimentary drinks are included as well. So, again, for a little bit more, you'll get that much more of an experience, worth every penny extra.
And that's so awesome.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about the highlights. So you've got a couple of nights in Denali, and you have day trips to Resurrection Bay from Seward. So there's just so much stuff, and of course, I mean, you've got everything that you need. Things that you may think that, I was only going to see on a cruise. Well, you're going to be able to see what was on the cruise and on land. So you're really going to be able to get in there. You're going to have the ability to actually mingle with the locals and actually have a conversation with them, or even buy locally.
That's right. That's right. Folks, and obviously cruises are fantastic, but if you really want a more in-depth view, you want to spend more days and nights in beautiful Alaska, well, then this is a great package to consider. And by the way, we have multiple different packages all available through Lulu as well. So keep that in mind.
And also keep in mind too, that if you wanted to modify these particular packages, that can be done really easily. Whereas on a cruise, you're really married to your itinerary.
That's right. That's right. More structured. Yep.
So just kind of keep that in mind. So we're looking at Anchorage right now.
Yep.
And Anchorage, obviously, it's such a beautiful city. And especially now with, you have the ability to see the Northern Lights during this time frame.
That's right. That's right. Great city. And as we go through these pictures too, folks, as you can see, obviously Anchorage, we do offer some great tours throughout the day. Some of you may even want to hop on a float plane as well. If you're a little more adventurous, you get to decide. But lots to see and do. This is Anchorage. But, as we go through some of these pictures too, leading into the next one, when I mentioned earlier about being an independent style vacation, on certain days, you may have a half a day tour. This is an example of that. You'll actually have a half a day tour on a boat cruise with a local tour guide on the boat of Resurrection Bay, but then the other half of the day is at leisure. One of the things I know you're definitely not going to be disappointed on in Alaska, and I think you know what I'm going to talk about. Here it is, Lulu. I knew it was the next picture. I knew it was.
Everybody's favorite.
That's right. That's right. And as Lulu mentioned multiple times, and I have too, open spaces. Do you know there's over 6 million acres at Denali National Park? 6 million acres. So you want open spaces. Here you go. And
Absolutely.
yeah, and this is a good example as we go to the next picture. This is a great example where, we give you an in-depth tour. Okay. Now, speaking of in-depth, we stay at Denali Cabins, which is only about 46 cabins located about 8 miles from the entrance of Denali National Park. In fact, folks, during your time there, if you're there for 2 nights, 3 nights, 4 nights, just like Lulu said, any trip can be modified or personalized just for you. During the free time, we've heard this from so many of our travel partners, clients like yourselves, Joan and Lulu, where they said they even made us a box lunch. Some of folks went hiking, some went fishing, some had a car rental. And again, Lulu can handle everything, including flights. You can go gold mining. You can, absolutely, especially in Alaska.
Exactly.
Especially in Alaska. Yep. But
so you could use this as your home base, and as you mentioned, get that car rental and just kind of go.
That's right. That's it. Yes.
So it's super. I mean, it's totally super fun. Lots of things. Again, you can do a full day. You can do half days, whatever. And so everything is completely customizable.
Absolutely. And and speaking of customizable, here's a great package, folks. Ultimate Canada and Rockies westbound. Now, as Lulu and I know, and I'm sure all our viewers and travelers that are watching us here today know, the Canadian border and the US border is closed as of now. However, are we getting lots of new bookings and reservations from all our travel partners out there, such as Lulu, for all the fantastic clients? Absolutely, because once those borders open, so many folks are going to want to travel north of the border and see all that Canada has to offer. And this is on Via Rail, which is the national train of Canada. As you can see, just a beautiful trip. So as we go through some of these pictures too, you'll see also that what makes it special is some of the great sites and destinations that you'll stay at. I will say too, Lulu, what's great is when we talk about customizing and modifying any trips, like you said, I know obviously we have some great boutique properties throughout the United States as well as Canada, but what makes our trip special in particular, the beautiful Canadian Rockies, we can stay at some of those iconic 5-star, 5-diamond lodges, such as Jasper Park Lodge, Banff Springs Hotel. These are some of the most luxurious hotels in the world, let alone right over the border in Canada. And you get to stay at those if you choose.
And that's super awesome. So let's talk a little bit what it looks like on board.
Yes.
So here's what a cabin for 2 looks like.
Yes.
On Via Rail. So it's not that different from what Amtrak looks like, except that you have not only your beds, but you also have beautiful seats.
Absolutely. And, and I will mention on this picture too, Lulu. So Via Rail, folks, is the national train of Canada, just like I mentioned Amtrak is here in the US. Via Rail is probably going to be more of a 4-star, 4-diamond on a scale of 1 to 5, whereas Amtrak will be more of a 3.5-star diamond, 3.5-star. But one thing that makes Via Rail also unique and special is they also have cabins for 1. So any of you that are solo travelers or single travelers, Via Rail has you covered.
That's so awesome.
Yep.
That's so awesome. So you never have to share or have to buy out that cabin.
No.
But if you want that prestige level, you absolutely have the ability to do so. And so here's what it looks like. And you really get an opportunity to have quite a bit of space all to yourself.
You do. And this is, if any of you have ever heard or dreamed of Rocky Mountain Air, which is one of the iconic trains in Western Canada, this is what I always say, the most shoulder to shoulder experience, just like Lulu mentioned, where it's that upscale experience. Only fits typically 2 people in a prestige class cabin. And if you look at the top left-hand corner, as you can see, it's a queen size lower bed. There are no bunk bed style, so you don't have to worry about being in any bunk bed. But this is fantastic because you also get your own private butler. Believe it or not, Lulu, they get their own private butler.
That's the all-inclusives in Mexico and other places where when you upgrade your rooms, you're going to have your private butler. You've got it on the train now.
Absolutely. We'll help you any way we can.
There you go. And the dining is super amazing. I mean, in Canada, you have amazing dining.
Oh, yeah. Well, and you know what I love about Via Rail in particular too, Lulu? Any of your travelers that are joining us, if this is a trip that's on your bucket list or your wish list, the meals, the cuisine reflect the region that you're traveling through. So when you're traveling through the prairies, it's going to be more lamb and some of the local iconic wildlife style food. But when you're in Vancouver, it's going to be more of a seafood flair, right? So again, all the meals reflect the region you're traveling, and you can eat in any available dining area, or you can also have meals delivered to your room if you choose.
So amazing. And I love that. So I am so excited that we got an opportunity to talk about all of these amazing things. I mean, you guys, we are totally heading into an amazing opportunity here of land travel. So if you haven't thought about giving rail a try, I highly suggest it. When I lived in Europe, I traveled all throughout rail, and it was one of my most amazing experiences. We can do it here too. So I'd love to be able to set that up for you guys. Jim and his team are ready. They're standing by. They are waiting for my questions. So I'm waiting for your itineraries to be able to go, okay, here we go. So it'll be, again, a great opportunity. We can celebrate a lot of different events. You know, you ever think of a bachelorette party on a train? How cool would that be?
That would be cool.
My dogs agree.
That's right. Who let the dogs out? You remember that song, everyone?
Let the dogs out, exactly. They're super excited about that.
Absolutely.
So with that, thank you so much. I really appreciate everything that you have shown us. And do you have any other parting words for us?
I
The dogs are still super excited.
That's okay. They're excited about the bachelor and bachelorette party. I don't blame them. I mean, who wouldn't be, folks? But no, just to mention again, I want to just thank Lulu. Folks, you're in great hands. For all of you that have booked all your trips through her, again, she can modify, she can customize any trip, whether you're looking literally for a weekend getaway or a 1 to 2 week long wish list trip anywhere in the US or even Canada. She has you covered with either Amtrak Vacations or Rail Bookers. So I just want to say thank you for your time, and Lulu, thank you for having me as your guest speaker here today.
Oh no, thank you so much. And so until the next time, everyone, namaste.
Namaste. Everybody.
Bye, everybody.